Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner. 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 Hey, fat lard, come get some dinner. Tina, you 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 fat lard, come get some dinner. some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner. Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
Hey there, hi there, and hello there. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Jamie and I can't play guitar. You're watching the second secret broadcast of I Can't Play Guitar. This is the second hangout. We're going to be playing guitar and watching videos. Actually, let's pull up the schedule. Hey, there's the schedule. We're going to be watching some news updates, like world news sort of stuff, and then we're going to be watching some other videos from some creators that I haven't teased yet and are going to remain a secret. And then we talked about some videos from Matt Shaw that we want to watch, one about overdrives, one about how to play different chords. So this is our good excuse to play some guitar and watch some videos and hang out with all of you. And we're coming to you live on June 25th, 2023. So, thanks for hanging out with us. Leave something in the chat. Let us know what you're working on, if you're working on anything, or what you've been up to today. We hope you're doing well. And let's watch some news updates. I'm having a fudgicle right now before we start the guitar. So, had a pretty good day. I guess I could give some news updates on myself. After the first video. So we'll go to hopefully everyone had a good day. I'll update you when I do this. I had a yard sale a lot of the day, and then I snuck in some editing for work. And I gotta finish some of that after this broadcast and get it uploaded. I do YouTube editing as well as other stuff. I'm a creative director at a small business. Okay, where are we here? Alright, we're going to get started with Putin's authority called into question after Wagner Group something. PBS Weekend News.
Good evening, I'm John Yang. The most significant challenge to Russian President Vladimir Putin's 2 decades of power lasted only about 24 hours. But today, there are questions about the long-term consequences. The streets of Moscow were quiet today as the last Russian troops left the capital. To the south, Evgeny Prigozhin and his Wagner mercenary group were cheered as they left Rostov-on-Don late last night. They had captured the city just that morning. The deal that diffused the mutiny calls for Prigozhin to live in exile in Belarus. On NBC's Meet the Press, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the episode was a blow to Putin's authority.
It seems that way.
I think we've seen more cracks emerge.
I don't know enough about the Wagner. I know they're like crazy and people like to tie them to Nazis. But yeah, I don't actually know about Wagner Group.
In the Russian facade, it is too soon to tell exactly where they go and when they get there. But certainly, we have all sorts of questions that Putin is going to have to address in the weeks and months ahead.
Blinken also said it's unclear whether the Wagner fighters will return to the battlefield in Ukraine. Angela Stent is a Russia expert. She worked in the State Department during the Clinton administration and was a top intelligence officer during the administration of George W. Bush.
They talked to the
She's a professor at Georgetown University.
Oh, she's still a professor.
Angela, you heard the Secretary of State cracks in the facade. Is it possible to tell how deep those cracks run? How weakened is Putin?
What a leaked question, dog.
It's very difficult. There's a lot that we don't know about what happened yesterday and what led up to it. And it could just be the first act in a much longer drama. But clearly, the fact that Prigozhin's troops were able to get within 200 kilometers of Moscow, that they were, as you just shown, welcomed when they were at Rostov and they were cheered as they left, does raise serious questions about the security services in Russia, about the military, and about Putin's own future. He certainly looks weaker emerging from this, but then there's a lot that we don't know, and let's wait and see where and when Prigozhin shows up again. Is it going to be Belarus? We'll have to see.
But you talked about the progress Prigozhin made on his advance to Moscow. What was the leverage, or was there a stick or a carrot that made him stop?
So it's, again, we
What the fuck? This guy sucks.
don't know a lot, but it's possible that he thought there would be more support for him from some of the top people in Moscow.
Possible,
and
definitely.
it's possible
This
when it
lady
became clear that that wasn't
super
so,
old.
made him rethink what he was doing, because otherwise it looks as if they could have reached Moscow pretty quickly and taken over, which is what people thought they would at the beginning of the day, or. It's possible that a deal was made with him yesterday.
You have no
when
idea,
he was
dude.
promised that both the defense minister and the chief of the general staff would be fired, which
She's
is
like,
what
it
he's
could
been
be
calling
any
for
outcome,
months, saying
anything at all, ever.
But that, of course, hasn't happened yet. So I think we'll have to wait and see.
fucking
Is a
idiot.
weakened Putin, or at least a publicly chastised Putin, dangerous? Is there
Publicly
concern that he'll
chastised
do
Putin.
something rash just to
Dude,
show
this
that
guy
he's
has
in
such
charge?
shitty questions.
I think one has had those concerns, but I think there must be a lot of
This
things going
interview is
on
fucking
that we don't know about right
terrible.
now inside the Kremlin. What's interesting is that none of his colleagues, not one of them, has come out publicly and supported him. And he did not announce the deal with Prigozhin yesterday, but his press secretary did, and he's been completely absent today.
Sucks too.
Nothing, no public figures in Moscow. So I think one does have to have some concern about what's going on inside the Kremlin and how they're going to deal with this.
As he didn't say anything about this deal. It was
What a
brokered
nothing
by
burger. I'm sorry,
Belarus.
everybody. They have no idea what's going on. Such a non-update.
Environmental concerns after a bridge collapse and derailment sent cars from a freight train carrying sulfur and asphalt plunging into the Yellowstone River in Montana. ABC's Zareen Shah joins us now with the latest. Zareen, good morning.
Wait, anytime something like this happens, there are major health concerns for people in the area. And officials have been urgently trying to contain the hazmat spill in the Yellowstone River, 40 miles from Billings and just over 100 miles from Yellowstone National Park. It all started Saturday morning after a freight train derailment and a bridge collapse. Officials say a total of 7 cars came off the tracks, 4 of them carrying molten sulfur, and the other 3 loaded with hot asphalt that leaked right into the river. Both hazardous materials, but we're also told that those materials solidify really fast when they're close to colder temperatures. The train owner, the Montana Rail Link, there were no injuries reported.
We were able to make snowmen really quickly.
Adding that water treatment facilities in 3 cities, including Billings, are taking emergency protective measures, and there is no threat to life or property. Federal officials, including the NTSB, are on this investigating and surveying the water. And this latest incident, it raised fears about freight safety in the U.S. and taking place just several months after that massive train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and extreme concerns about the chemicals that seeped into the water and the air there. Gio?
All right, Zareen, thank you so much. Everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more video...
Fatal boat collision causes cruise delays for... Dude, really? Alright, I guess we're done with the news. Let's go to YouTuber scam of $1 million by Moist Critical.
The words scam and YouTuber go together like peanut butter and jelly. Usually when you see these 2 words in the sentence together, it indicates that a YouTuber is the one doing the scamming. But today, I've got a goofy little sad story for you that subverts your expectations more than Game of Thrones Season 8. This turns that narrative on its head because in today's story, a YouTuber was the victim of a scam and lost about $1 million in pursuit of a dream. This is the story of how a friend of mine named Oompaville was schmeckeldorfed of 1 million clams by a greasy worm named Jake. Oompaville just posted a beautifully made documentary going over the entire situation, so I highly recommend checking that out for the full story. Basically, Oompaville embarked on a journey to fulfill a dream of starting his own candy company called Sour Boys, and along the way got in bed with a bad demon named Jake, who posed $1 million out of him in a big, disgusting scam. And this is something that I actually have a close personal connection to because I was actually very much updated on his company, Sour Boys, over the last year and a half. Last January of 2022, Oompaville talked to me about his candy company, and I was super excited by it. Oompaville was glowing, blushing in the cheeks every time I talk about it. It was like he was going to prom every single day when I'd ask about the candy company. And it made me super happy to see that from him. Just a really cool project and venture taken by someone who was very passionate about the product. And I mentioned this in the stream clip I want to show a little bit later, but I'll mention it here too. I'd actually tried the candy. Me and my friends had all tried the candy by complete accident. It was sent to a P.O. box like 2 years ago or something like that. And we were eating it during a Moist Esports watch party and just fucking loving it. And we had no idea it was his. It wasn't until much later that we learned that Sour Boys that we were eating was Oompaville's. So it was a product that I had already liked without ever even knowing it was his. So it was top quality. And I eventually was told by Oompa that he was unfortunately used like a fucking fleshlight by a scammer and lost tons and tons of money, and that he'd be making a video on it. And now that video is finally, so I'd like to talk about it here today because it is tragic. Now, to make it clear that this doesn't mean that Sour Boys is dead and buried. According to Oompa, they are still pursuing a full launch, and it is apparently a very good place, so that should be on the horizon at some point. But this is a massive $1 million hiccup. That's a hiccup that could put you in an early grave, honestly. Losing that amount of money to a scammer is nothing shy of an absolute asteroid hitting your world.
Yeah.
But Oompa and his family have persevered and are still planning on launching Sour Boys in a big way.
I'm definitely going to buy
Sour
some.
Boys is started by Oompaville, but he has hired like most of his family to do it with him, as well as other people on payroll. So
right
it is a huge undertaking. You know, God willing, he's not been scammed by his family next. Should come out at some point. But anyway, let me explain what this was and how he lost so much money over the course of starting this business. In a nutshell, Oompa launching a candy company. It's actually candy that I had before by accident. Like, I didn't know it was his. You might remember during our early Moist Esports watch parties, we were all eating a bunch of like sour candy. That was his candy. We didn't know it. It actually slapped. And those were like, I guess, prototypes he did like a promotional for that we got. And fast forward over the last year and a half or so, I don't remember how long it's been now, but he's been trying to launch that candy company in a bigger way. So he's upped the production, got a warehouse, and he got a big machine in order to really be able to put out volume and scale. Turns out the person who supposedly built the machine and shipped the machine was a giant fucking scammer who also happened to be a friend of his. Not like a best friend, but a close friend where it would be the ultimate betrayal to even consider a scam. So basically, the machine that he bought under the assumption that it was built by his friend, serviced by his friend's friend, was all a complete lie. What it was he bought the machine from China and upcharged Oompa like fucking 3 or 4x what it was actually valued at. So in total, he's out $1 million. Would have been more too. He was supposed to send an additional like 70 grand to the scammer, but he had like a come to Jesus moment about it being fishy. And yeah. He is planning on launching the candy company. He says it's in a good spot, but he did lose $1 million over the course of this journey because of that scammer.
Yeah,
that was his friend.
Hopefully this
when you
blows
watch
up.
the video, I think it becomes pretty clear how anyone would have fallen for this. There was so much communication. The person was, for the most part, reputable. It was a friend worthy, so you always give them the benefit of the doubt in the first place. Oompa bent over backwards to pay wages and accommodate in order to get everything, situated, getting everything serviced, having a maintenance team, doing all pretty.
Definitely gonna watch this video next.
But it just turns out it was all a complete fucking lie. Even if it wasn't a scam, he'd be at $1 million. Yeah, but he'd have a company to show for it. Right now, he still has to keep building in order to get that ready. He says he is close and it's in a good spot, but that $1 million, assuming it did to a scammer, would have helped launch the company, and they would have already been in production. Well, and also, another thing that I think is worth mentioning, the machine that he did that came from China that he was told was built by his friend and all them, the machine was quoted on the receipt as $143,000. Meanwhile, Oompa paid like 600 grand. So he also wouldn't have been at $1 million, and he would have also been in production by now. If it was your friend, wouldn't you look up how much the machine may be going for? Well, he wasn't buying a pre-built machine. The whole reason that he was going to his friend for this was to produce that machine, to make that machine. It wasn't supposed to be like a pre-built machine. So where would you even go to get information on that or see other competitive quotes when this is supposed to be like basically a bespoke deal? It wasn't $1 million for the machine. He lost $1 million over time by getting the machine and paying the guy and everything. Yep. He said $700,000 to the actual scammer, and then over the course of like wages and other expenses came out to around $1 million. And the should have consulted me easy. True, he should have to you. He should have been in Twitch chat just looking for the experts. You would have sniffed it out. Just go to Ask Reddit for advice. Where all sane people go, yeah. why not ask a specialist about this before paying? I was a fucking specialist. Well, was supposed to be a specialist. And I guess in a way he was with scamming. I don't know who else he was supposed to find. Willy Wonka? It's a hard thing to find people for that. Can he do something to press charges, or is it out of his control? Oh, they absolutely press charges. 100%. Now, I don't know how hard they're going to go on that, but yeah, you can't just scam someone out of $700,000
He's being super vague. I'm going to watch some of the video.
Labor you didn't do and a completely false pretense.
I was scammed by a close friend.
Are you aware that Caleb has been scammed?
It's seeming likely. My candy company, Sour Boys, was scammed. How's it going, Coffee? It's good to talk to you, man.
What's up, Boompa? What's going on?
So I have some hilarious, tragic, bad news.
Oh, what happened?
Do you remember the candy company that we modeled our Dylan scam off of that we put out a couple months ago?
I don't think I've ever been so excited about something in my life.
He just tweeted it, bro. Tweeted
Stop! Stop!
So someone who worked for me in business, who no longer works with me now, I found out stole an insane amount of money, like so much that this whole thing might just get her. Like I've had to max out all my credit cards bad.
How much money are we talking?
It's embarrassing to say because it seems stupid, but over $750,000. Over.
Oh my gosh! How? What happened? Dylan Dan is to you? I'm gonna find that guy.
It would be a lot funnier and less sad if it was Dylan. So this dude who is fucking me over is in my house. I've been nice to him. I've paid his wages when I didn't have to. The guy was into crypto. He was into gotcha games. He was a gotcha whale.
And he got you?
He got me. $1,000 a month in gotcha games.
You're $10,000 a month.
Yeah,
in gotcha games.
Someone's $10,000 a month in gotcha games.
Can you tell us who scammed you? You have people like your mom working for you, best friend, your cousin, other YouTubers. Who do you think it could have been?
Well, I know exactly who it was. And it's a long story. Literally, all of my work for the last 2 years has just been siphoned through a lot. It's getting worse, too. There's more and more and more and more coming out.
Anything I can do to help, I mean, you got to catch this guy.
I need help. I have a lawyer. I have a private investigator investigating stuff. I just have to figure out where all the money went, and I need to expose this to its fullest extent, so hopefully this will never happen to anyone else ever again.
Yeah, okay, all right. Slow down.
Okay.
I can tell you're a little worked up. Start from the beginning.
Okay. So.
Coffee.
Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
You doing?
I got a haircut.
You look good.
Thank you.
Before we start, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah. My name is Caleb. My last name is Oompaville. My profession is a YouTuber. That's definitely the main focus of all of my time. I also have a candy company, and on that, it's nothing really. I don't really do much. Pretty boring.
We're here today to talk about the candy company in particular. It's to our understanding that you've been scammed. Is this true?
It is. Yeah, it is true. I did. Yeah, it is true. I got scammed.
You got scammed?
Yeah, not good.
Can you tell us about that?
What do you want to know, though? Like, where would you like to start? On the very beginning, or?
The beginning would be best. Start at the beginning.
We'll go to 2019. About 4 years ago.
I gotta say, it's a weird choice that they had the drum set in the background. Yeah, it's a weird choice. I would have done it in like an empty garage or something.
In 2019, I wanted to diversify my sources of income as any young entrepreneur, which I am not, but any young man with a mental illness would want to do. More money. And I was like, what can I do to make money on YouTube that isn't just the same thing that everybody else does? And I settled on potentially creating a candy company because I love candy.
Now, we will be selling this candy after we used it. We're not.
No, that's illegal, I think. That's probably an FDA violation. We're not going to be using this candy after we use it. I thought it would be really interesting if I did something different and something cool instead of just selling shirts like everybody does.
That's pretty interesting. How did you come to the point of making this idea?
So my cousin and I, Clint, we were just brainstorming a little bit of a powwow, and we both kind of came to the conclusion, what if we just tried all the candy out there and we decided what was best, and then we made our own version of that.
How are you doing? Good.
Those are very fun.
That's good. Can you explain what you do here and who you are?
I am the head of the maintenance department here at Sour Boys, and my name is Clint Phelps.
What do you do as head of the maintenance department?
Maintain things.
What's your relationship with Caleb?
He's my boss, and that's it.
No blood relation?
We are cousins, yeah.
How do you even start doing this?
They look very
Well,
close.
you start by the same process you start anything, any endeavor, learning. I started by reading a bunch of books on manufacturing of candy and like the business aspects of it, and also simultaneously calling every single co-manufacturer that I could possibly find in America. And that was tough. No one wanted to work with me. They did not like me at all.
So you started the company with Clint. Was there anyone else you had with you, like your parents?
My mom helped me from the very beginning. Clint helped me from the very beginning. Tara helped. She's been an editor of the channel since 2019. And my friend Cole, Rifty is Spiffy, the Overwatch YouTuber. Not really, he does Fortnite. He helped me as well a lot. We started as a JV, him and I, and brought him the idea, and then we kind of worked together for a bit. So I had plenty of people to help.
What were the first steps you even took?
The first steps
It's a tight team.
would have been
Cool.
for me at the time to ask my family for help, basically, to see if they would be willing to work with me. Because I believe at the time I hired my mom at that point for the candy company.
Who are you?
I'm Lois, Caleb's mom.
What's your affiliation with Sour Boys?
I am general manager
How long have you been with Sour Boys?
since 2019, 4 years.
Have you enjoyed your time here?
Some days,
Is Caleb a good boss?
some days. Some days not.
Oh, man.
So you hired a lot of your family and friends. Did any of them know actually how to start a candy company?
No. Nobody knew how to start a candy company. I was the closest thing to that. That's just because I read books.
What's your affiliation with Sour Boys?
I am what you call just a handyman, helper, mostly for free. All dead ends until eventually I found a candy company out of Sweden that was willing to sell in bulk candy and pallets, and we packaged it ourselves. So they didn't even private label it for us; they just sold it to us in bulk.
And then you resold it under the Sour Boys LLC.
Exactly, yeah. The name Sour Boys off-brand. Hey guys, we're shipping out all the candy today. We're doing a right now, live.
What was the initial response to you selling?
The initial response was crazy for only having 2 flavors and also 2 just basic, simple things. It was really just to test the idea to see if it would work.
So this gave you a lot of confidence. Is this when you decided to move down to Texas?
Yeah, Cole being my best friend, he lives here in Texas, and that was one of the main reasons I moved down. My mom also, my main employee. I figured it was just a natural thing to
My main
move down.
employee.
Plus,
It's fucking hilarious.
A little better
Yeah,
than
that's why
Virginia.
everyone's in Texas. Tom Segura, Joe Rogan. That's why they all moved down there.
What is your name?
Jesse.
Sucks though. There's
Who are
fucking
you?
no
I
services.
am Caleb's father.
So if you're not
How long have you
rich,
known
sucks to
Caleb?
live there.
I reckon around 26 years.
So how long have you known Caleb?
26 years.
How long have you been working for Caleb?
I've worked for Caleb since 2019 in various positions. I've held this position for about a month.
Are you originally from Texas?
No, I'm from Virginia. He moved down here and he was looking for help with his candy company, so I just moved to Texas.
I like
I
this
didn't
shot.
even come check it out.
He's
I
on the
just moved
fucking
straight here.
forklift. It's amazing.
Forklift certified.
I got
No.
forklift certified at one point, but it might be expired. I don't know. I can drive a forklift though.
What do you do for the company?
I'm the COO. I basically just help try to fulfill any dream that Caleb has.
What is your affiliation with Caleb? Like, how long have you known him?
Since I was really young, I think probably maybe when I was around 3 or 4, I would say.
How long have you worked with Caleb?
I've worked with Caleb since February of last year, which was 2022.
So you moved to Texas and you were still reselling basically with the whole.
Yeah.
What was the next step from there?
Me and Rifty, we decided that the next step would be to have than just 2 flavors. And in order to do that, we have to take manufacturing into our own business, which is extremely difficult. You just kind of have to keep it interesting or people just lose interest. It's very simple.
I am no longer part of Sour Boys.
A lot of people ask still where Cole is with the candy. This is the point where we split ways.
I have left.
Because I wanted to do the manufacturing thing, and in order to do that, I had to incur debt and take on a lot of unnecessary risk. That is the point in which that separated. When that massive load, that hot load of $500,000 of candy machine equipment just on my
Fuck no. Thanks.
Let's just say I didn't want to leave.
So how do you even get into it?
The way that I got into the position to be able to even consider manufacturing it ourselves is before launch, I met a fellow named Jake, AKA Zelda, on my Discord server. And he, at the time, was an industrial automation engineer, so kind of had a budding friendship there. I got the idea and I asked him, hey man, would you be interested in helping with the candy? Is there a way we could kind of develop something to manufacture? So he was like,
I actually work for someone who does that, and we actually manufacture stuff. BuffaloBottlecraft.com. I don't know if we could manufacture a candy machine, but he used to spec and design massive industrial machines, so I can't imagine he wouldn't be able to do a candy machine, honestly.
my guy on the case, basically.
Call me Oompa.
Because he's an industrial automation engineer. Definitely know more about the process than I would, a YouTuber.
And you start incurring massive amounts of debt.
Yeah, taking all sorts of risks. I sold part of my channel. I took out 2 bank loans, and all of the money that I made in the month just went directly into this bad boy. So yeah, it was very expensive, and I just decided to put it all on the line.
Where do you go from there? You have the machine that you make. You're incurring all this debt. What's the next step?
Irritable bowel syndrome, brought on by chronic stress, panic attacks, a short stint of homelessness. What do you know during this time? It was very stressful. It was a very difficult time. I was posting every single day on my main channel.
That's right. You were posting every day.
Every single day.
Living in a warehouse.
Yes.
It's me, Caleb. I'm in a warehouse right now. I'm a climate-controlled self-storage warehouse. This is everything that I own. I'm homeless.
For a time, I lived in Plano in Texas. That's where Cole, he lived around that area. As soon as we kind of split ways, I decided to take my business to a little bit of a rural area where I was more comfortable. I grew up in this town, and I saw a dope house, a compound. I wanted to buy it. In the process of buying it, a lot of things went wrong, and for about a month, I lived in my warehouse.
Look, broom closet. Did a cool edit on this. Look at this. Check this out, guys. Look at this. Setup. My setup's right here. Check that out. Pretty cool, eh? Here's my cleaning supplies, too, and my play button for my channel that got deleted.
What was it like being homeless and living in the warehouse?
Overall, it was pretty terrible, but at the same time, I ate a lot of paydays, and that was a silver lining.
Taking my buddy Clint with me here. He's building Legos. Look how sad he looks back there. He looks so sad. Let's get him. I can't edit this. I don't know. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
It'll be all right.
How do you think Caleb was feeling during this time?
He seemed miserable, but I think he was overreacting, and it's not that big of a deal.
Fucking amazing.
I didn't shower the whole time. There was a green smoke emanating from my pores as I walked through the warehouse around all the food manufacturing equipment. Just kidding.
I wish they
Just kidding.
said more specifics about how he made himself homeless.
So what was happening with the machine during all this when you were homeless?
It was being built. The initial contract showed 10 weeks to 35 weeks, I believe. I can't remember exactly, but 10 weeks minimum turnaround. So I was like so ready, spending money on stuff. I bought an additional warehouse space in that time. it was all coming together at that point.
Were there any delays with the machine?
Yes, lots of delays. COVID makes sense, you know, manufacturing, equipment, a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables, makes sense. You gotta have people working for you. There's a lot of fabrication that goes into this. Jake said that he was having it all fabbed at the time in Georgia, delays with each little individual vendor. One part takes 6 weeks to get in, takes a couple weeks to build it. You know, that was the main source of the delays, was just parts coming in and the labor required to assemble those parts into something bigger and beautiful. Yeah,
assuming that was a
plenty
lie.
of delays for sure, but all completely understandable and well within the 10-week, 35-week turnaround of the contract.
Were the delays in the machine stressful?
Yes, immensely for Caleb, and I just went along. But yes, very stressful.
Do you think taking the risk was a good idea?
For the machine, definitely. I think taking a risk is a good idea, and that's the only way to be successful. But there were parts that, after a while, were not a great idea.
What?
Knowing you've been scammed, were there any like red flags with anyone that was working with you? Like, do you think anyone was working against you?
During all this delay stuff?
Yes.
Not really, no. No, and yes, I have been scammed. And yes, there is a mole. I had no idea, though. I genuinely had no idea. Makes me very tired thinking about it. I have a mole on my back. I think it's cancer.
Are you aware that Caleb has been scammed?
It's seeming likely. There's definitely a mole amongst, some would say, an imposter.
You have basically everything there. You have everything ready. Seems like you had everything flushed out. You just need the machine.
That is it. We had the recipe, we had all the proper consultants, we had 80 flavors done and planned out. All the dyes, all the art. I mean, we even had 100,000 bags ready to be filled by March of 2022.
There was a point in 2022 when you got the call the machine was ready though, right?
Rejoice. Absolutely. It was a celebratory moment. The machine was ready, but there was still trouble having it figured out because it's, 20,000 pounds of just equipment. It's not easy to move. It's like one of the pieces is 30 feet long. It's a lot of stuff. I decided that it would be best if we all went and got it ourselves. Obviously, I'm not going to do that kind of dirty work.
So you went with Jesse and Marcus to pick up the machine. How was that?
Going down there, it was pretty exciting. Like, all had been waiting to go get the machine, and now we finally had the chance. We were all ready to just like get down there and go get her loaded up and bring her back and started.
You went to help get the machine in Georgia, right?
I did. I drove 150 miles approximately.
How did that go?
It was a good rough ride. Me and a buddy. Went well.
Things weren't as organized as what we were expecting them to be. We're still just like making the best of it. We're like super happy to like be able to walk in there, see that the machine actually existed, and we're like, oh man, like it's all here. Like it starts bringing the dream to life a little bit. We got everything loaded up. There are still going to be some pieces missing because they just weren't ready.
So your dad, Forrest, and Marcus go pick up the machine from Georgia. This would be the first time anyone's ever seen Jake in person.
Yes. I had never seen him. I had never met him. I talked to him on the phone a lot and texted him a lot. But yeah, that was the first time. So I was excited to hear what my dad had to say and what Forrest had to say about the whole experience. I was very, very, very excited to go finally meet Jake.
Yeah.
How was meeting Jake?
Meeting Jake it was a pleasure to meet the engineer who has fabricated all this equipment. I felt he was a bit nervous. Maybe sweaty.
Can you do an impression of him?
I can. Jake, he was a little fidgety.
Was he on stimulants?
Not aware of the stimulants, but he sure enough was vaping.
What was your first impression of Jake?
I don't really know what I was expecting of Jake, but I was expecting a man who was like, my brother's an engineer, and it's a different type of engineering. Well-groomed, put together, button-up shirts, professional, right? And like clean. Jake was like, very sloppy and like just frazzled hair, very like twitchy, pale, greasy.
Like the machine has arrived. What's your response? What's your reaction to it?
Happiness, relief.
Woo! Holy shit.
That is so badass, bro. I can't believe all this got to go in this building.
And then after that, a sobering moment of what next.
And how do you continue it? You hook up the machine?
No, you still had to wait for Jake to do all that stuff, or I would void the contract, which would not have been smart for me to do. That's what he was being paid for. In his contract, he was paid to create from the ground up a process to manufacture candy at large scale and also install it at my location.
Assuming all the parts finally get down there, and then so does Jake, and he comes down and starts the machine.
No. There was a couple of delays. There was one piece that was left behind in Georgia, the packaging machine, which was a very automated process. That was in a bunch of pieces when my father and everyone went to Georgia. That was all taken apart in their shop. That was the next step, was to get that piece, and then Jake would come out and set everything up.
Okay.
And at that point, I think he gave me a timeline of around November from August, but really it was just a lot of radio silence. Money problems as well, on his half.
On his part, he was losing money?
Yeah, he was having some problems. He mentioned that he was going through like a intellectual property dispute, and that was doing his revenue in and made it difficult for him to have working capital.
November comes, what happens?
So in November, Jake texts me and asks me what I think about being able to put more money in because they've gone well over budget. And at the time, I told him that I would absolutely love to do that. I would love to spend more because he did a good job. He did good on me in cutting the price down $100,000 initially from like $700,000 to $500,000. He was really, really helpful. So I gave him, he asked for $130,000 and gave me a bomb bill of materials with just every single piece needed. The pipes, the hose, the fittings, connectors, everything basically to get us from 0 to 60. To launch, 130 grand, and I sent him the money in November of 2020.
Did you think the candy was going to launch after Caleb gave Jake the 130,000?
Yeah, I was like, it seemed like Jake had made some mistakes and like he had not estimated what the cost of the job was going to be. Caleb was willing to fucking pull the trigger and fucking took the hit for the team and fucking paid the $130,000 to him. Like, man, if he can for sure get it done, then it's worth it.
So early December comes, things are going very well for me, and I get a text from Jake, hey man, not feeling good in the hospital. I have double lung pneumonia or something.
Dude. Like, pneumonia is what he had. And his lung had to get drained or something, so then it got pushed off to the next year.
But he sent me a picture of him with his little wrist in the hospital, and I felt bad, clearly, because I'm a human being. This guy who's been helping me for a long time, we've been working together for a long time, is in the hospital, so nothing happened essentially for the whole month of December because he had severe pneumonia and had to get lung surgery. No personal feelings, just an inconvenience in the professional sense. It was not. I had no ill will for Jake for getting sick because he couldn't help that obviously. But
so you were just waiting for him to have surgery and he'd be able to come right down?
Yeah, we were just waiting for that to finish, and then he would be able to come back down as soon as he was better.
So how did his surgery go? Did he get better?
Yeah, his surgery went successfully, and he was cleared by a doctor to come down. So I suggested that he just send his coworker Will in his stead to help us just get the ball rolling, right? Like, come on, man, really, really waiting on this stuff. I'm losing a lot of money. You know, I've spent $50,000 a month in just payroll for all businesses, not just the city specifically, but it's a lot of responsibility. So please help. Let's get this done so we can buy more machines. Let's get this done.
What was your first impression of Will?
Will's character, I mean, you're gonna see him. He's got like colored hair.
What was your first impression of seeing Will in Texas?
First impression? I'm not good with first impressions.
She didn't like him.
I'm usually a little negative. He was different.
I'm usually a little negative. That's honest.
Blue. Fortnite.
What did you think of Will?
This is great. Oh, not like Will.
Are you here against your will? No. How did Will's arrival affect the project?
Well, as soon as Tyler Blevins showed up,
interviewed.
I was pretty excited because he was
Called
keeping
Tyler
the steer
Blevins.
tie.
No
I took him out to dinner
fucking way. He called him Tyler Blevins. Holy shit.
First night, schmoozed him up a good bit, and learned about him a little bit. Learned about him and
For
Jake.
anyone not
Kinda
know,
got an
that's
idea of their
Ninja's real
relationship.
name.
It went really well the first maybe day, maybe the first day it went very well, and then it didn't go that well. It didn't go as well
Oh no.
after that.
What would you say your first day here was like?
Kind of confusing. I was told to show up and get a few things done and job.
What was your impression of Caleb when you first arrived?
He was nice. Asked me to go out to dinner with him, had dinner, and then didn't see him
Guys,
too much after that.
stop shrugging, dog.
So it just seemed like Will didn't really want to help us.
Yeah,
it seemed like
dude.
Will was there to slow us down. Either that or Will was completely incompetent. The first couple of days, Forrest was working with Will, and they were actually getting stuff done. He was like calling me like, dude, this is bad. I don't know what this guy, like, I hope Jake is better at this kind of stuff, because we're not going to be able to launch unless we get someone else to help us. And mind you, I just spent $130,000 to have this stuff up and running. So at this point, I'm starting to lose my patience a little bit. There's only so many excuses you can have, and there's only so much play before things start to get hostile.
Jesus Christ.
What was your first impression of the team?
Yeah, I'd met Forrest and Clint and a couple other people that came and got the machinery the first time, and Forrest was kind of a hard ass, and Clint was just happy to be there, and everybody else is pretty.
How long have you known Jake?
I knew him about 10 years. He was best friends of my best friend, and hung out a few times, played some video games.
He just didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know how to do anything. We had to communicate with Jake. Jake knew everything somehow. Will didn't really know anything about the machines, which we all thought was weird because they built them. It was just a lot of asking questions and then getting an answer that's irrelevant, if that makes sense. Just like, are you manipulating me right now? Like, what is going on? Red flags. Lots and lots and lots and lots of red flags.
You're still waiting on Jake to come down there because you've basically been given someone that doesn't know what they're doing either.
Yeah, we've been given incompetence, essentially. That's how I viewed it as. And I should bring up at this point as well, Will has not been paid in 2 or 3 weeks. The money problems for Jake were at an all-time, they were at ATL. Not Atlanta, but all-time low. All-time low. Atlanta's a shithole. I fucking hate Atlanta. Atlantites. But Will hadn't been paid. Things are getting worse with Jake. No money. I told
Dude,
Will,
this
hey
is
man,
a
I'll pay you
nightmare.
back pay.
Holy cow.
How about that? Let me pay you what Will owes you, and that's between me and you. Let's get this shit done. I was starting to talk to him in a way that was almost manipulative from my perspective, being like, hey man, if you can help get this done, like I'll hire you. Whatever you're getting paid by Jake, I'll double it, and you can work for us. Like, it seems like you know what you're doing. I was just lying essentially to try to get information because things were starting to turn black. It was fucking weird for a bit. Yeah, I paid his back pay, and the next day he started working a lot harder for us. And it was like just on an instant things sort of changed, which was even more suspicious, to be honest.
So, Will couldn't stay forever. Did Jake ever eventually come down?
No. Still haven't seen Jake, which is terrible, but he never came down. He did ask for more money, and I did offer him more money just to kind of get an idea of where everything was at. One night before Will was supposed to
Holy
leave,
cow.
I told Jake, hey man, what do I need to do to get you down here? I don't think we can do this with just Will. I think we need you. What can I do to get you down here? I'll do anything. Like, your business is failing. You're having money trouble. What do you need for me to get you down to get this launched? I'll even buy your business and move you here and help, whatever. Just trying to be generous and encompassing as possible to get things going in the right direction. Some call it manipulation. Some call it being a fucking top G. All right. It was manipulation, but I was scared.
Dude.
I was like very, very nervous that this was all, I was getting fucked over. And the next morning, Jake calls me back and says, man, $35,000 will get me 1 week, and then another $35,000 will get me another week. I started laughing, of course. This same day, too, that Jake says this, Will drop a massive bombshell that shook the earth core. So, the machines are in my warehouse, and I'm walking around being a dick, making fun of everybody, of course, but just Will, just kind of poking fun at him. He's looking stressed. I feel like a bully in this moment, literally, because I'm mad. Jake just is trying to siphon more money out of me, and I think that is his counterpart. So this dude who is fucking me over, in my warehouse, I've been nice to him. I've paid his wages when I didn't have to. So I've been over backwards for this guy, and I just, dude, how do you guys not know how did you not know how to make this? Didn't you literally make all this? Didn't you design all this? And he looks at me and he says, we didn't design this. And I was like, wait. Did you make it? No, we didn't make it. Huh?
Going through your head when the true origins of the machine came to light?
I was really confused. I thought that there was at least some level of understanding that we didn't build it. I guess I was really confused about how I thought everybody knew, or at least put together the pieces that there's no way that we built it like this.
And I looked at Forrest, and we had a moment in which we were going to consume Will. We looked at each other, and we were going to consume him and eat him and sacrifice his heart to the blood gods. I'm not even joking. It's so bad. 2 years of stress and risk culminated in one moment of us finding out that I just got fucked up hard by a guy that was my friend that tried to get $7,000 from me a couple hours before for the promise of some pipe dream.
What did you think when Will exposed Jake's scam?
I wondered about a lot of things anyways, so it all made sense. It all came out.
How did you feel when they found out that they've been scammed?
I was like, it was a lot to process because, man, we'd been waiting for so long. Caleb had put so much money into it, and like we were all just wanting it and believing in it so much, and like it felt like it was maybe all gonna like come crumbling down for a moment. Like I feel like none of us really were like, oh well, this isn't the end, you know? Like we still had a machine, we could still make it work, and no one really got down much. We pretty much just instantly were like, okay, now it's in our hands, gamer. How are we gonna make this work for ourselves? But it was like a big blow. It was terrible, and it all really made sense looking back on it. But
Jesus.
Yeah, we were definitely taken by surprise on that.
So Will's scared. He's like, no, we didn't make it, and he showed me a receipt from Jake buying the machine. Literally everything that we had in my warehouse was bought, pre-made from China. China, dude. I was squirting and pissing and shitting everywhere. I was so mad and so angry, I could not believe it. Actually, I could believe it. It all started actually. The pictures he sent me from the old boys in the fab shops around Atlanta, that's just from fucking Mugu Gaipan. Some fucking somewhere in China made. To be fair, the people who made it are very nice people. Our friends in China, they're incredible. They're easy to talk to. But in the moment, I was mad as fuck because my Made in America machine, it was made in Georgia by my friend, who I have a personal connection with, is just, it's all a big lie. The best part of all this, guys, I'm $1 million in, right? Over 700,000 to just Jake, not including 70,000 that he wanted that I never gave him, fortunately. Guess how much the seat for the machine was?
How much?
$143,000.
For the machine from China.
So basically charged me $350,000 to ship a machine from China and also not give all of it to me. Bit of a scam. Bit of a fucking scam. I haven't talked to him since. I've tried calling, but I haven't talked to him since.
So what's the status of the candy?
Well, actually, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Better than ever. And I should make this too. Will, I am grateful for him, for his life, his honesty, for his ability.
So, okay, 2 more minutes. Finish this, and then we're gonna
to change his life completely.
check out.
He now is a good friend of mine. He helped. He was lied to just as much as I was. The dude was completely in the dark, and he has gotten us to where we are now, which is on the precipice of success. All right? I'm kicking my feet. I'm so excited.
What do you think about Jake now, knowing what you know now?
I want him in jail at the very least. I mean, he financially ruined my family. He had been short on paying me.
Jesus Christ, dude. All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitch. Go to our Instagram and check us out. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early for the next broadcast.